How's it going, everybody? We're back once again. It's week 14. We're going to talk about this slate. I've got a lineup builder question and answer with my chat right here, right there, on twitch.tv/al_smizzle. If you guys want to get involved, throw a subscription my way on Twitch and you can jump into the chat. The chat is always locked down. 2 subscribers only for these NFL and NBA type shows. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. The last 2 weeks we had more support than we've ever had. Over 500 likes, over 4, 5, 6,000 views for each of the lineup builder question and answers. So thank you guys very much for helping me build this channel and your continued support along the way as well. If you want to smash that like button, let's shoot for 650 likes. That's 650 likes in 2 days before lineups lock. It's a lofty goal, but let's see if we can get there. And if you wouldn't mind, click that subscribe button before you get there. Karate Chop, thank you for the 2 months.
Ho, 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 Merry Smizmas.
Ho, 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 Merry Smizmas. That's right. You know, I still have not heard back from Y Yoda 36 and JSpanna 99, who won the $25 Amazon gift cards on last Sunday's Anti-Tinkercast. If you win, guys, I send you a whisper on Twitch. If you look, it's the bottom right-hand corner of the screen on Twitch. There is a little thing for your DMs on Twitch. That is the only way that I can give these away, because that gives me clarity. It's not somebody impersonating you on some other social media channel. You got to reply to me on there. So please, reply on there so I can send you your $25 gift card. I'm trying to give you money. Please do it. We'll do those giveaways once again this Sunday on the Anti-Tinkercast as well. Played golf last Sunday, so you didn't tinker and you smashed. Congratulations. Power Bait DFS. C Maximus, thank you for the 200 bits. Think this calls for a redraw? No, we're not going to redraw. They'll get. One of them tried to contact me on Twitter. I'm like, okay, thank you, congratulations, but you got to get into the whispers on Twitch because I know what your username is on Twitch. It's not somebody.
2 + 2
is 4.
Minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths.
Thank you for all that awesome content. Much love, less than 3.
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you for being here for 6 straight months. If they don't reply, you should roll them over. I mean, I don't want to take stuff out of people's pockets. I am Chappie. Thank you for the 2 months in a row.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it is Friday. Rudolph or Anderson? I'm assuming you're talking about Steven Anderson on Houston. I prefer Steven Anderson on Houston. 3,200 projects to get a bunch of targets, even with Will Fuller active. They just don't have anybody else at tight end. I don't think he's going to get the 12 targets he got last week, but let's say he gets like 7, 8 targets. Again, 3,200, what do we need? 4 catches for 50 yards? This is a converted wide receiver. He's a big target around the end zone. You got him for 3,200. 9 points pays off his salary. You have touchdown upside. You've seen 12 target upside from him. Seems like a pretty solid play if you're looking for a value guy. And with Zach Ertz now looking like he is going to play. I mean, yesterday it looked like he was back at practice. Today he was back at practice, but what was the story? He was back at practice, but still in concussion protocol. So how do you let him practice if he's still concussed? But whatever, that is what it is. Assuming Trey Burton's off the board, Anderson jumps in ownership level massively before they would probably split ownership. Burton or Anderson, if both are active, it's a coin flip, to be honest with you. With all the value at tight end, is it a 2 tight end week? Probably not, because I think there's massive value at running back and wide receiver as well. ASG Anderson stack in cash for the win. I guess you can do that. I don't know if you need to. Can we just get out of the way that you're all just going to play Giovanni Bernard? We're just doing that, right? Mixon was out. Mixon's out. Right? So, like, don't get cute. Like, your lineup should come preloaded like this. Okay? That's your lineup. Right there. Do that. Okay? Assuming that we're doing that, like if there was like, no, I don't want this X. I want like a lock emote. I want an emoji with a lock button on it because that is what that should be. Giovanni Bernard should be in 100% of your cash game lineups this week. Obviously, if you want to fade the crowd in tournaments, feel free, but really, this is a lock for cash. Plug and play, fill in elsewhere. He's going to play 80+% of the snaps, possibly 85% of the snaps or more. He is involved in the passing game. They're not going to pound him between the tackles a ton, but like this should go up to like these levels more likely. You know, 4, 5, 6 targets. He should get 10 to 15 carries. What do we need here? We need 70 total scrimmage yards and 2 catches to get 9 points. Touchdown not needed. He should be able to get there on volume and he could possibly get there by the end of the third quarter. So like Giovanni Bernard is the lock of the week. You're just playing him. I don't know how else to put that. Just get it set in your mind that you're playing him. Thoughts on Jimmy G? I think he's fine. Yeah, exactly. C Maximus, he's a free square. Gio, S. Anderson, and M. Davis together opens up the world for you. Yeah, you could do the same thing with one of the wide receivers on San Francisco as well. Travis Taylor, 3,300. There's a lot of guys. Any concern for Marvin Jones? Reduced target counts with Galladay active? No, not really. He's still going to lead the team in targets, him and Tate. And he's a massive leader in the team in terms of red zone targets against a team that can't stop anybody through the air. Where do we sit on Marvin Jones, Golden Tate? I side on the Marvin Jones side of that argument. Although I think Golden Tate is definitely in play. Tampa Bay is bad against the slot. They're really bad against players on the outside. They're bad in the red zone. They're bad on deep throws, 15 yards or more. So most of those things favor Jones. Jones is in the same boat that Julio Jones was a couple of weeks ago against this same Tampa Bay defense. I don't mind stacking Stafford, Jones, Tate in the same lineup. Everything depends on how healthy you think Stafford is. You lost your VIP token? Where'd you lose it? It looks like it's on your account. Brodero 20, thank you for the 2 months.
Kelsey or AJ Green for flex.
I really like Kelsey this week. I don't mind AJ Green. I have Kelsey just a little bit higher. Dez or Goodwin for cash. I'd prefer Dez if that was the toss-up. El Ridgy 10, thank you very much for the 2-month resub. Jags D is 1K cheaper than last week and playing at home. Why are we not on them? Seattle's got a good offense, although they have a leaky offensive line. I think it makes for a solid play, and it's the same reason that I was talking about Minnesota Vikings defense at 2,700. They're just too cheap. There's no reason they should be that low, Minnesota. Going on the road against Carolina, who's struggled, and Funchess has a bad wing and has Rhodes on him now. Minnesota's in a really good spot here at 2,700 on defense. Dak or Garoppolo in cash? I'm fine either way. I think Dak has higher upside because of his rushing ability, right? Like Garoppolo is never going to have a game where he runs in 2 touchdowns. So just that gives Dak a little bit higher path to 30 points. But I think Garoppolo is a safer play on touchdowns should have to come through him, in my opinion, where Dak, Alf Morris could run in touchdowns against the Giants. The defense could score touchdowns against the Giants. Favorite tight ends in the 5K range for cash? You know, I just went through a lineup and I had about 5K for a tight end. You've obviously got Jimmy Graham, though he's hurt, and against Jacksonville, probably not where I want to go. I guess Jack Doyle is the best play in that range. I don't mind Rudolph. Witten, if you've got, if you can stomach it, when he plays against the Giants, look at his game logs. Like, go back last year, go back 2015, 2014, and look at Jason Witten's game logs when the Cowboys play the Giants. Just look at that. Sure, you want to say, well, that's like batter versus pitcher stats in baseball. It's too small of a sample size. NFL football is completely a small sample size game. When you've got the same guy at head coach that was calling the plays a few years ago as the OC in Dallas, you realize that he sees something in this Giants defense that we've all seen this year. He just saw it beforehand, and he has been streaming his tight end against the Giants all the time. Witten sees more targets, more catches, more touchdown upside when he plays the Giants than anybody else. And this goes back like 10 games at this point, like 5 straight years of Jason Witten just wrecking the Giants. Best defense to pay up for if you have extra cash this week. I mean, the Jags we just talked about at 3,500. The Packers at 3,700 against Cleveland, who's got really massive turnover upside. Ryan Hodge with a 1,000-bit donation and nothing to say about it. You could have tagged some on there. Ryan, thank you very much for the support. You can type in a message anytime it's 500 or more bit donation. The Swift Rage cheer mode looks like Levitan raging over Tyreek Hill touchdowns. It does. It really does. Taking over the top bit donator. You're going to stay there, too, for probably the week. So you'll be there until the end of the Sunday show, Ryan Hodge. Nobody else has donated over 1,000 bits in a long time. So thank you very much for the support. Miller, Marvin Jones, or Jay Gordon, or Shady. Well, okay, that's too much. That's 3 versus 3. Miller, Marvin Jones, Gordon, or Shady, D-Hop, Taylor. I like the first one. Miller, Marvin, and Josh Gordon off the top of my head. Pace of play in San Francisco-Houston game is going to be great. I totally agree. 2 of the fastest paced neutral teams. Like, they play really fast when game flow is neutral. So imagine what's going to happen, you know, if it gets a little bit out of hand, if one of them gets ahead, if it starts picking up a little bit. That game has a lot. I mean, you could theoretically just stack that entire game. You know, like that might be worth a GPP play. Dan Jones, Smiz. Yeah, it's me. Hi. Hey, guys. Hopkins and Anderson in the same cash lineup. I don't mind that because of the value involved. Anderson is super cheap and should be able to surpass value. So he's just the value play, and Hopkins you're playing for high floor and possibility of upside. So they're somewhat separated. Lamar Miller without all the backups, yes, I think he's playable. Tom Savage playable. I'll probably have some shares in GPP, but I'm not considering him for cash. I understand that some people are. It's just not a play that I really want to make in terms of cash games. I don't think you need to be honest. So we lock and loading Flash Gordon in cash or simply GPPs. Okay, this is what we have to talk about. And if you've listened to the Edge podcast, the new Edge podcast is out. I go into this and like I play devil's advocate because like Josh Gordon did really well last week, right? In terms of volume. 11 targets, caught 4 of them. Now he's playing, against a tough opponent in the Chargers, right? He had a really tough matchup on the outside. Now he's got Green Bay, who we've been attacking with wide receivers all year. If he gets 8 through 11 targets again this week, or even tops that, then it's going to be hard for him to miss value at 5,500. So I understand playing him in cash. I thought he'd be highly owned, but I did not think that he was going to be as highly owned as everybody else is projecting him for. Papa Chisholm, thank you very much.
Happy Friday, Smith. Thanks
Happy
for
Friday
all you
to
do.
Too. Hey, not a problem, man. Really appreciate you guys continuing to support the channel here and YouTube and Twitch and Discord and all the other places. I know it's not easy to keep up, but let's get back to Josh Gordon real quick. Here's the thing. DeShone Kizer has as many runs inside the 5-yard line as Todd Gurley does. So we fall all over ourselves to play Todd Gurley because you know that he's going to get goal line carries. Well, they get in close, and DeShone Kizer has as many, let's call them goal line carries inside the 5-yard line as does Todd Gurley. Okay, so that's one thing working against him. He also only completes like 28% of his passes inside the red zone, does DeShone Kizer, Josh Gordon's quarterback. He also has more interceptions inside the red zone than any other quarterback in the league. So I'm not saying that Josh Gordon can't get there. He might. But I think that there's a very real possibility of fail risk here that nobody's talking about. Oh, yeah, he's going to be 40 or 50% owned in the Millie Maker, and that means he's going to be like 80% owned in cash games. He's not free. He's 5,500, right? He's 5,500. Des Bryant's 59. Cooper's going to play this week, so whatever about that. Marquise Lee, fine. Seattle's tough, but like he's getting a ton of targets, right? Like basically 10 targets a game against everybody that's not named Patrick Peterson. Below them, you've got Goodwin coming off of a massive game, 8 for 8, getting 6 targets. His count's moving up, and he's always got that big splash ability, be able to get deep with this quarterback. Now he's got all the underneath stuff locked up as well. Some people like Zay Jones. I'm not as high on Zay Jones as other people are. D.D. Westbrook. Where is he? Deshaun Jackson at 4,400. He's not the only guy, is kind of what I'm saying. And with all the value, like, it's not like you need him to unlock other things. I get it, right? I get that Josh Gordon is good. And I get that he theoretically should see a lot of volume. I also understand that Njoku and Coleman and Duke Johnson and Kaiser's running ability and everything else brings in more bust potential than people are talking about. That's really all I'm saying. I'm going to have Gordon. I'm going to have probably a sizable allocation to Gordon. I doubt I'm going to outpace the field. I might have him in my main lineup, my cash game lineup. I might not. I got the FD final this weekend. I might fade him entirely. I haven't decided yet. Because again, it's not like there's no plays around him. So like, I don't know. JK's Geo opens up so much you don't know where to go with all this money. I mean, assuming that he's locked in, right? Let me set this up. So assuming that Geo's locked in, like, you don't know where to go with all this money? You really don't? You don't know where to go. You don't know where to go? You don't know where to go with all the money? It's not that hard. Just play the dudes. Like, if there was ever a week to play all the dudes, this is the week. Just play all the dudes. Is Crabtree a lock with no Amari and no Peters? I think Amari practiced today, and one of the beat writers said that he looks like he wants to play Sunday. So we're in a holding pattern there. Is it possible to get Keenan, D-Hop, McCoy, and Gurley in lineups without Gordon? Yeah, just go down for more value, right? Yeah, you can. Look, there's so much value, you can do anything you want. So D-Hop, well, why did it do that? All right, so Hopkins, Allen. What else did you say? Hopkins, Keenan, McCoy, and Gurley. Okay, so Gurley, McCoy. I'm not going to adjust for... I'm not adjusting for... the thing. So we need a cheap deep. I'm not adjusting for flex is kind of what I'm trying to say. Put Vikings there, and then we're going to need a cheap, so Taylor, right? We need a cheap wide receiver. We need a cheap tight end, so Anderson. Yeah, I think you can get there. I definitely think you can get there. It ain't hard. You just play the dudes, guys. Play all the dudes. That really looks like, you know, that took what? 8 seconds for me to build that lineup? Just figure out the guys you want and play all the dudes. Why is the entire DFS analytics Twitter losing its collective minds over Sashi Brown being fired? Because turning around a team that was that untalented takes a lot of time. And math doesn't care if you believe in it. It doesn't need you to believe in it to be right. And now somebody else is going to come into the Cleveland Browns who have built up a solid young base of talent and have a bunch of assets and a lot of money coming off the payroll this year with, you know, they took on Osweiler and they got back a second-round pick. They basically just boosted up their salary to put themselves in a better position for the future. So it's kind of like, without, you know, the biblical reference, take it for what it is. It's like Moses standing on the mountaintop but not getting to walk into the promised land, right? So, like, he's got all these great things. He's wandered through the desert, and now he doesn't get to go where he's been leading everybody to go. It's just like Hinkie in Philadelphia. That's essentially why people are losing their minds. Like, just, if you give them, if you say, okay, this is what we're committing to, just like a college coach, you can't bring in a college coach to play with somebody else's players, right, that they recruited to play their system and do their things without giving them time to turn over that roster and let the first recruiting class become seniors. You got to give a college coach 5 years. You got to give a front office 4 or 5 years as well to do what they're supposed to do. This was like year 2. You know, year 1, they didn't have any of their players. They hadn't had time to put in any of their, to get any of the assets that they wanted to collect. So yeah, that's really the problem. Lord Hinkie died for our sins. Exactly. Goodwin or Shepard in cash? I prefer Shepard there, I think, at this point. I like Goodwin. I think Shepard's the better play. I didn't know if he was going to play this week when I wrote Best Buys. I would have had Shepard in there instead of Goodwin, who I put in intriguing for tournaments. Crabtree or L Fitz in cash if Cooper misses? I think both are in play. We talked about Fitzgerald. I mean, you can make the total old guy lineup this week as well. Old guy lineup is fun this week for tournaments, right? Like, we can go, we talked about Witten, right? Talk about how good Witten is against the Giants. Flow chart from this year notwithstanding. We can go with Fitzgerald against Tennessee, who's been bad against the pass. Fitzgerald getting 10 targets a game. People are going to love this. We go Frank Gore at 3,900 going against Buffalo, who just gives up yardage in chunks to opposing backs, right? Old dudes. Old dude lineup in play. It's scary as hell, but it's in play. And maybe like McCown. Isn't McCown like 38 years old? Go with him at quarterback. And maybe he's recognized. I mean, maybe he has, but maybe he hasn't. You had me until you said Frank Gore. Exactly. Go with the dad runner lineup this week. Do I like Lamar Miller or Alfred Morris more? On DK, I like Lamar Miller more because he actually catches the ball. Alfred Morris is essentially Jordan Howard, where he's got to score touchdowns for him to reach value. Kelsey, T. Taylor, or Brait and Fitz? Give me the first one. Kelsey and T. Taylor. Senior citizen lineup. Exactly. If you put that lineup in, I think you get like a free tapioca pudding dessert and a baked potato. It's the early bird special. So is Curse a real thing now? He's kind of been a real thing all year. Like, he's been somebody that I've never really considered, but every week he's somebody that I'm like, you know what, I probably should have more of him, but I don't. Brady's older. Yeah, but he's not on the Sunday slate. You get a free bingo card? Exactly. Is McCoy cash game viable if Tyrod's out? I like him better if Tyrod's in, to be honest with you. I need them to be able to move the chains. Like, you can't score points holding your helmet on the sideline. If Peterson's in there, Peterman's in there, I don't know that they can. So that's really the problem. Tapioca pudding, you want Jell-O? I mean, doesn't the early bird special always come with, like, isn't tapioca pudding like the official old person dessert? What the hell are those things in tapioca? It's like it's like the original boba. When is Mariota going to win me a GPP? Man, I don't know. He won me a bunch the last couple of years, and this year he's just stunk. When is Lev Bell getting back in our lives? I don't know. When do they not play on a night game? When do they not play an island game? Thoughts on Ingram for cash? Love the rest of your lineup, and you can't get all the way up to Kelsey. Yeah, Ingram's fine. He should get a ton of targets. Obviously, that comes down just a little bit with Shepard healthy, but it should just be those two guys, and we know that Eli likes to throw the ball to him and has at least the ability to throw it his way. Sounds like a Smith's Life dessert? Nah, not for me. I go with either, if I just want ice cream, it's chocolate, 1 scoop of chocolate, 1 scoop of vanilla, or I like the hot cold mix, like the McDLT of desserts, where I want like a hot fudge brownie sundae or like hot chocolate cake, molten lava cake with a scoop of vanilla bean ice cream. Those would be my favorite desserts. Like by far, not even close. Gabbard or Kaiser and cash? I think both are fine. I like Kaiser. Let's go to the DK screen. I like Kaiser for this reason. I mean, look, I think Garoppolo is probably my favorite QB for cash this week. But Kaiser, he scores like 5 rushing points a game. Right? We need 15. 5 games in a row. He's gotten there all but one. You know? And now he's got a better weapon. And when you have a better weapon, you know, in Josh Gordon, that makes everybody else slide into place. Now Coleman's a little bit better. Now Njoku's a little bit better. Now Duke Johnson's going to get a little bit better on dump downs because nobody can you can't guard all of those guys who are really good in the passing game. I think Kaiser's fine in cash this week. And I know that makes people like vomit a little bit. Like right in the back of their throat. That's the worst. Do I put on any NBA articles or podcasts? I was doing NBA, but the overlap was just kind of killing me with all the stuff I have to do during the week. I'll get back to doing NBA stuff maybe after NFL Finals season, which is this week and next week. Next week I travel to Miami. I don't know if there's going to be a Sunday show next week. This Sunday I will be doing because the FD Finals in Los Angeles, which I qualified for that one as well. Kaiser depends on the weather, in your opinion. I agree on that too. I don't really pay attention to weather until like Saturday. I've heard that there's like 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts, but like, is that really accurate 2 and 3 days beforehand? He's already inaccurate enough. Maybe the wind will blow his throws on target more. Kaiser sure does fumble a lot, though. Yeah, but still, 5.5 rushing points a game is a really solid floor to start with for a quarterback. Dak averages like 3.5. You like Garoppolo more than Dak in cash? I think they're both fine. For some reason, I'm gravitating more towards Garoppolo, and maybe that's just my own personal biases. You know, it could be the wrong play. I don't know yet. Thoughts on Fitz and Crabtree usage this week? Solid people out there on solid matchups and people out on their teams. Crabtree, we're waiting to see if everybody's going to be out because Cooper, I think, practiced today. Fitzgerald, totally agree. Dez or Lamar Miller for cash, leaning to the running back, but you like to stack for head-to-head. I think I lean Lamar Miller there. There's a lot more players in that range that you could play at wide receiver than guys that you could play at running back. Dak and Shepard or Jimmy G and Goodwin in cash. Give me Dak and Shepard. Oh, wait. Jimmy G I read as Jimmy Graham. Sorry. Dak and Shepard or Jimmy G and Goodwin. Yeah, I would. I mean, personally, I would go Shepard and Jimmy G. But, like, I understand Dak and Shepard's fine. Like, there's the other one, right? Like, everybody's falling all over themselves for Josh Gordon, right? Everybody's falling all over themselves for Josh Gordon, and we've got Shepard at 5,300. Like, why is Josh Gordon going to be 50% owned, but Shepard's going to be 15? Why? Right? Can we answer that? Can you tell me why this guy, with no matter what you think about Eli, he's a better quarterback than Kizer in terms of throwing and accuracy and touchdown and everything else, right? So why would a guy that we really think is going to get between 8 and 11 targets at the same price point going to be 40% less owned than this guy with a worse quarterback? I don't get it. They kind of should be similar, but they won't be. Right? They should be around the same ownership, but they won't be. Re-injury concern? I mean, it's football. Everybody can get injured. And they do, constantly. Skandrick out for Dallas, too. More upside with Gordon air yards? Maybe. Not if it's windy. Why not both? I agree. I just think it's something that we got to pay attention to. Eli and Cash at 4,800. I'm probably not going to do that. Like, I think Shepard and Gordon should be about equal this week in terms of projections. I think that Kizer should be ahead of Eli. As bad as Kaiser's been, because, again, 5.5 rushing points. If he gets any touchdowns, whether they're on the ground or in the air, he basically, meets value. Rashard Matthews, FD viable, only 6K. Seems fair with Merritt viable. He's all right. Not really. Pete's going to have a meltdown if Amari's in. Yeah, I don't know that you need Rashard Matthews this week. Should we play Shepard then, even though I like Flash Gordon more? That's what I'm saying. In tournaments, if he's going to be 5th, I would, okay. If Gordon is, let's just say 40% in the Millie Maker, and Shepard is 15% in the Millie Maker, I would rather have 40% of Shepard than 40% of Gordon. Does that make sense? Like, just from a game theory GPP perspective. I'd want to leverage the field on the guy at the same price point that's going to be massively lower owned with a very similar raw projection and upside than go for the guy that everybody else is going to be on in terms of GPP. Exactly. 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus 1, that's 3. Quick maths. Rashard going to be on Pat Pete. Are they going to shadow? Studfi coming in with the 30 bits. Studfi really, he takes care of the cup. He really does. Anytime the cup looks empty, like right there. Anytime the cup looks a little bit empty, Studfi gets in there and fills it up so that it's any. I think he just likes watching it when somebody like subs. Like if we get a new sub or a recurring sub, that he just likes watching it explode. So like he makes sure it's full. So I appreciate the constant support from Studfi filling the cup. Love the explosions. Exactly. Everyday man's on the block. Exactly. Be Sorekia not to be outdone with the 54 bits. God help the cup if somebody subs right now. Whatever you do, chat, if somebody's in the chat that's not a sub, don't sub. Don't sub right now for free. Whatever you do, don't click that subscribe button up there. Don't link your Twitch account to your Twitch Prime or your Amazon account to your Twitch account, giving you a Twitch Prime, getting ad-free viewing all over Twitch. And dropping a big sub token into that cup and making bits go everywhere. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't sub. Do not sub to this channel. Please sub to the channel. Bengals seem like a cash lock on FD at 4,600, but now 5 starters out. Yeah, I agree. Pivot to the Vikings or Rams. Yeah, I think that there's definite pivot to Sonic Librarian with the 15 bits. Thank you very much. Black Cobra 3 with the 10 bits. Thank you very much. The cup runneth over, guys. Trickle down bitsonomics. So full. It's so full you can't even put more single bits in there. It'd be a real shame if somebody exploded the cup. I agree. I agree about the DJ Kemp's 5108. Thank you for the host. Appreciate that. If Ertz is playing, paying up for Kelsey leave you thin elsewhere for DK Cash? No. We went through, like, somebody said, what do I do with all this value? Oh, here we go. Boom. Tangle Foot 2112, thank you for the new sub. Blowing bits everywhere. Gabbert and Cash, though, 4,800. Agree, he's been very good. Cup, Favorite 7 to 5,900, what was that, running back? Yeah. Favorite $7K to $5,900 running back. So we got Fournette, probably not interested. McCaffrey, interesting, but Kareem Hunt, I've been off of him for a couple of weeks. He had his last chance against Buffalo. Carlos Hyde, interesting, especially with the better offense. Now, he got a bunch of chances inside the red zone and did not get there this week. I think Jamal Williams is going to be under-owned, even though Cleveland's run defense has been good this year. They're playing really slow. That's the other thing about Josh Gordon. Green Bay is playing like third slowest in the league since Hundley took over at quarterback, as opposed to playing really fast like they normally do. I think Lamar Miller and Alf Morris are my two favorites in that range. How do I feel about Kerwin? I'm not on Kerwin Williams this week. You can ask him, but if you don't get that, think of the commercial. Ask Kerwin Williams. You made the play the dudes Geo lineup with Jimmy G, Goodwin. Look, yeah, seriously. Just make lineups where you play all the dudes. They're fun, right? Like, that's the thing. You could make full-on... This is what I like about this week's NFL slate. Because of the value, you can build any type of lineup you want. And there's other value plays. It's not like Geo's the only sub-4K running back out there. We've talked about a couple of others already, Mike Davis, Gore, whatever, where you can leverage off of Geo to get to those guys. You can leverage off of the cheap wide receivers and go mid-range. You can build stars and scrubs. You can build scrub with 1 star and some mid-range. You can go high price at quarterback if you want. You can go expensive at tight end. You can go cheap at tight end. If you build a specific lineup, like the question it asked earlier, I have about 5K left at tight end. Yeah, I just built a lineup like that where I had 5K. I know exactly who you have in that lineup. Right before the stream, I was like, okay, I can get this. 5K for tight end. That's strange. So, like, there's a lot of different routes to go this week, and I think that those are the most interesting weeks to play daily fantasy, as opposed to the weeks where, well, we all have these guys because that's where the salary leads us to. You can do anything you want this week. I love those weeks. Favorite 6K wide receiver for FD Cash? I don't have FD's pricing down yet. I studied DK for this one. I'll start working on FD this afternoon. Feels like an NBA slate with the choose your value. You love it. I do too, S-Point, and I totally agree. Do I like Goff? The Goof? It's Goff. Last year it was Goof. 2017, it's Goff. Do you like Goff over Wentz? I'm probably not going to have either one of those guys. Alex Smith and GPPs, definitely, but not in cash. If Geo and Alf Morris were the same price, who would I choose? On DK, Geo. If they were both 3K, I'd just play both. But like if Geo was 5,500, I'd probably choose Alf. But that's why they have salaries. Favorite sub 5K wide receiver in cash? Probably Djax. Keenum versus McGoat. What? Who's McGoat? Like Josh McCown? Who's McGoat? I don't know who McGoat is. I must be missing something. Or was that Keenum? Oh, Case Keenum. Okay. That I understand a little bit better. First of all, it's not McGoat. It's Josh McGod. And it's 6,000. Don't expect this again, right? Just ignore that. So without that, he had 22 points, right? Maybe would have passed one more, would have had 26 points, right? So at 6K, Keenum versus him. I think I prefer McCown, to be honest with you. I think he's the better play. Ignore the question mark. I am Ron Burgundy? Amari Cooper now has the questionable tag. I told you he practiced today, guys. Like he said he practiced today and wants to play. Josh McCod, trust the process. I love the emotes. And I think Pin Monkey's working on some new emotes, some Christmassy ones. Like, like I think there's gonna be some with like me with a Santa hat. Stuff like that. Bengals D still a good play. Less so than they were earlier in the week with like 5 starters out. Coop ankle jacked. He's a decoy at best. Not a problem. I mean, I'm not going to be on him anyway. I never play him. So like I'll probably be on Crabtree if I'm on anybody. Exactly. Merry Smithmas to all of you. And to all a good night. You want to play him too, but that doesn't mean it's happening. Who's my favorite Seattle pass catcher to use in a Bortles game stack? Probably Jimmy Graham. Not going to play the wide receivers. Figured out the 5K left for tight end lineup. Are you really that high on Alf Morris? See? It's not a difficult lineup. Like, everything is kind of fairly easy this week. It's not that I'm really that high on Alf Morris. It's the Giants, guys. I did that podcast with Anita Marks yesterday, the Fantasy Forecast. I do a segment on that one every week. We go through like Best Buys. It's an ESPN one, so we go over Best Buy's article trying to move product on the piece. If you haven't, go read Best Buy's. And it's New York radio, right? So like we recorded like a podcast and they play it on Saturday on New York radio. And she's like, so tell me, why do you like Alf Morris? I said, well, one, he got 27 carries last week. And two, he's playing the New York Giants. I'm sorry, New York fans, but he's playing the Giants. She like lost. She's like, oh no. But it's true. He's playing the Giants. Green, Anderson, Shepard, or Kelsey, Goodwin, Davis. That's very close. I like the first one, I think. Goodwin or Tate, PPR season. Oh, season long? Give me Tate. Go back to the well with Theo Riddick if Abdullah misses again, or just focus on the passing attack? Well, he is part of the passing attack. So, yeah. If Abdullah's out, you know what you're going to get from him. But the prices come up where now he needs 12 points, as last week he needed like 9.5. So, what do you get? Like 14, 15? And some of it came on a touchdown. So, it's a little bit tougher for him to reach value at that price point. You can still play him in GPPs, but he's not a cash game lock for me this week. Eli's back, so the New York Giants are back. Well, sure. Maybe. What's wrong with Houston? Huckleberry, seriously, like you're not going to play anybody on Houston this week? I mean, okay. Thoughts on Winston? I really have not been on Jameis this year. And I'm kind of want to toy around with maybe getting involved this week because I think I like one or two of his pass catchers. We just haven't seen it. And yeah, I know he was hurt for a little bit, right? So like, he had a few good games in here, right? These were good. Like, can he get there right now? Like, is the shoulder 100% okay? Could this game shoot out? I think he's GPP viable, not somebody I'm really considering for cash games. Oh, Texans suck on defense. Oh, yes, definitely. Now I understand what you were saying. Like, you were explaining why you're on Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, same here. You don't think Jameis has been on Jameis this year? He hasn't been terrible, though. That's the thing. Just no 30-point games, but like he's been over 20 a bunch and at 6K and down. No Texans this week. GG. Exactly. I mean, look, you can realistically stack that lineup. Or you can just go with like both running backs, 2 pass catchers from each team, 1 of the quarterbacks, and then fill in a stud in flex and a high-priced defense. You can totally do that. Browns D if the wind picks up. I'm probably not going to be on the Browns defense. I understand what you're getting at. The Hundley's terrible too. It'll be really low owned. I just don't really have allocation to a lot of different defenses. I pick like 4, maybe 5 defenses on a week, on a slate. So I'm really focused in terms of staying tightly wound on my defenses because I want to overweight my Ds just in case one of them scores 2 touchdowns and I have 25, 30, 35% of those defenses. You know, my lowest allocation on a defense is usually 10 or 15% on the one that I'm least like out of those 4. And that allows me to take a massively overweight position on the field. Like when I won the Millie Maker, the Broncos, believe it or not, were 4% owned against the Colts when Andrew Luck was getting sacked 5 times a game and throwing a bunch of picks. And like I had 40% on the Broncos defense. So that second touchdown when like Von Miller got the strip sack and Aqib Talib ran it back in was like the tide that raised all of my team's boats in the Millionaire Maker and every other tournament because, again, 40% of my lineups had that defense. Why is Vikes D so cheap? I don't know. I really don't. Play the dudes. Stop. Easy. Exactly. I should get an easy button emote, right? Like that big red from Staples. So the non-copyrighted easy button. Play the dudes that score more than the other dudes. Right? That's it. Can't wait for the play the dudes tweet on Sunday morning. Exactly. I mean, you guys could just be my social media managers from now on. I'll give you access to the account. You just tweet out, because you know what I'm going to tweet anyway. Probably some funny GIF. More than likely a GIF involving a Muppet or a monkey clicking a keyboard. You missed the play the dudes thing. Basically, play all the value plays and then play all the studs. And you can totally do it. Would you play Bills D in cash if Tyrod misses the game? I probably would not. Again, same thing. We talked about this on the edge too. I'm more interested in LaShawn McCoy if Tyrod Taylor plays, and I'm more interested in the defense if Tyrod Taylor plays, because the defense could be on the field and in bad position defending a short field, giving up more points than it should through no fault of their own if Mr. Peterman is on the other side of the ball. Ruthless says this is fine. I mean, Ruth, you don't need to type that. I got like a this is fine emote. In fact, I have two. You have this is fine, the words, and then you have, Smiz drinking coffee. Just use the emotes, brother. Can we get some emote spam with the this is fine and me being the dog drinking coffee chat? Can we teach Ruth the ways of the Twitch emotes? There you go. Smiz in a house on fire drinking coffee. Thielen bounced back this week. I wouldn't see why that would not be viable. I like it. Poker legend Ruthless? Most definitely. One and the same. That's him. It be he. Oh, you were saying for one of my tweets. Yes, exactly. This is fine. We're here to teach. Wentz or Alex Smith and DK Cash. I don't like going up against the Rams defense. I do like going up against the Raiders defense. So Alex Smith would be more in play than Wentz for me, but I think there's other better options that you could go with. I understand that some people are going to be on Alex Smith. I try to not be on Alex Smith more often than not. Is Draft Cheat jealous of my Millie Maker win or what? I have no idea. DC's a good guy. In person. Have to remember to block off 3 to 4 p.m. on Fridays. You do, but you know what? As people are watching this on YouTube right now, I upload all these videos to YouTube as well, so you guys can watch them on demand. Or you can click the videos tab right here above the screen, right? It's right there. Click videos, and you see all the past videos. They just archive themselves right here on Twitch. And you can see, if you watch it on YouTube, you have to wait for me to get to this background so you can see the chat. If you watch it on Twitch, you can see the chat scrolling in time with the video. DC loves to troll. He does. Al Smizzle starter pack. This is fine. Kermit drinking coffee. Play the dudes. New York Giant and Cleveland Browns flowchart. Exactly. And don't forget, you got to have some Cookie Monster Cookie Monster gifts, right? Either that or Kermo the non-copyrighted frog, who we have right here as one of our emotes on twitch.tv/Al_Smizzle. You work from home on Fridays. Makes it easy to have this going after work. Yeah, hey man. I appreciate it. I think it's an easy time for people to watch. If Tyrod plays, or Kelsey and Cash. I mean, I like Kelsey a lot. Kermo the non-copyrighted frog, there he is. Nothing to do with the Muppets. Just Kermo. Studfi, thank you for the 6 bits. Thoughts on Kerwin Williams with AP out? He got a lot of supply last week. He's just not the type of running back that I really want to invest in. Especially on a week like this where I can... Okay, with Giovanni Bernard locked into like every lineup, right? I mean, I'm not going to play 100% of him in cash, but like assuming that he's going to be in a lot of lineups, right? Kerwin Williams, 16 carries last week, no involvement in the pass game. He's in play for the sub 4K leverage guys to Gio Bernard. I'll say that. He's not going to be really an option around the goal line. I think most of their production comes through the air this week, just based on the way that things go. Blaine Gabbert, also a pretty solid runner himself, so could vulture some inside the 10 and 5 yard line sort of carries. Fitzgerald, obviously a monster. Ricky Seals-Jones playing very few snaps, but being very efficient with them, especially in the red zone. I'm just not on Kerwin Williams. Evans or Thielen? Give me Thielen. What is this Streamlabs thing? I don't know. Like the Smizbucks thing? Streamlabs like helps me run the stream. Like anytime you see pop-ups and stuff, announcing new subs or followers or things like that, that's what Streamlabs is. It's a thing that helps streamers. Diggs week? Could be, but he doesn't get very many targets. 6 or 7 a week. Trent Taylor and Cash to get more dudes? I'm totally on board with that. McCown stacked with one of his wide receivers or ASJ valuable or viable for cash or more GPP. I'm fine with ASJ. Probably not going to stack McCown. I think you can go naked McCown because he spreads the ball around, even though Robbie Anderson did score like long touchdowns in 5 straight games. Is Jimmy G, Miller, Taylor, Nook okay for cash? Yes. That's fine. So no one's going to be on the Rams pass catchers this week. Good to know. They probably aren't. I mean, the Eagles do have a bad secondary. Like their cornerback and defensive backfield is not good, but their front 7 puts a lot of pressure on people. I prefer Gurley as the best play there. Probably not going to be on I'm probably not going to be on Watkins as much, but I think Kupp is in play. Is Allen matchup proof now? Yeah, because he moves around so much. Spends 50% of his time in the slot and then, you know, splits between left and right on the other. They move him around so much and scheme to get him the ball, and he's good. In unrelated news, the Browns dropped Britt just now. Okay, because that's what they needed. Less weapons for the rest of this year. No Keenan Allen love? I just said he's awesome. Browns now releasing Kenny Britt. What a joke. Can't wait for the Silva tour. Oh, Silva's going to go off after the season. I saw him like... You can see the rage building in Evan Silva's tweets. Bills or Bengals for cash defense? I liked both of them earlier in the week. With everybody injured, I kind of prefer the Bills now. Keenan fade, hoping he cools off. I mean, the price has come up. The percentage owned is going to go up. He was the first person to have 10 catches and 100 yards in 3 straight games in the history of the NFL. So if nobody's ever done that before, regression would assume that he was not going to be able to do it for 4 straight games. I still think they're going to funnel the ball his way. It's hard to catch 10 balls in a game, but he gets targeted a lot around the line of scrimmage, making it very easy. Whether or not he can get over 100 is another story. He's priced at a point where we need him to get over 20 points in a game to be happy with him. It's a good matchup. It's not the best matchup in the world. They do have 2 good cornerbacks. They don't chase into the slot, so he'll see 50% of the time on a nickel corner. I like Keenan Allen. I like his quarterback. I like his situation. And if you want to get to him this week, you can definitely get to him. FD Cash, Gurley or McCoy for Gurley. Like, doesn't matter what site. I just prefer Gurley. Feeling 4 wide receivers this week. I think it's going to be a popular lineup build, to be honest with you. I think you can go 3 running backs, assuming that you're locking Bernard into one of those. If I had to pick one of the other, Kelsey or Keenan Allen for cash, probably Keenan Allen because I can find another tight end that's cheaper. Allen Shepard or Hopkins Goodwin? I don't think Allen and Hopkins is a coin flip to me. I think Shepard is a better play than Goodwin. So whichever one of Allen and Hopkins you like better, but for me it's Shepard versus Goodwin. I prefer Shepard. You like Kelsey Anderson tight end flex this week? Yeah, I'm not against that. I think that's okay. And it allows you you can go mid-range at a wide receiver spot as opposed to just, you know, going value everywhere. Thank you guys for joining today. I really appreciate it. I did want to announce one thing here on the YouTube video. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please click that like button. We are doing a fundraiser for Feeding America throughout the month of December. You can go to Feeding America on my Twitter account. It's the pinned link. You can donate money. You can see we're already 32% of the way to our $10,000 fundraising goal throughout the month of December. If you can donate $1, that's more than enough. If you can donate $1, that would be awesome. If you can donate more, would obviously appreciate. You can always see that the donors are ticking right along the bottom. You get added to that scroll. We have donators. People have donated up to $1,000. We have people that have pledged to donate money as the month goes on based on the percentage of their winnings in daily fantasy NFL or NBA. I am going to be donating $5,000 when we reach that $10,000 goal, or by December 31st, whichever comes first. So please, before you leave this video, please smash the like button, click that subscribe button. And if you do have, if you're in the spirit of the holidays, you're in the spirit of giving, go over to Twitter, click the link right there on the pinned tweet, and give what you can. You don't have to give too much. If you got $1, if you got $5, if you go out for a latte every morning at Starbucks, and you can afford to skip your latte one morning and just make your coffee at home, donate the latte money. That's $4.50 right there. Any little bit would help these people that don't have money. This money goes out to food banks all around America. So let's see if we can get there as a fantasy football and more specifically a daily fantasy community by the end of this month. So thank you guys for joining me. We'll catch up to you Sunday morning on the Anti-Tinkercast. Be there for that 45 minutes before lock, going all the way up until lock, answering your questions right then. It's hard for me to get to all of them, but I will do my best. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll catch up to you later. Bye, everybody.